Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar about ReachOut. So we'll first make a quick introduction explaining what ReachOut is all about. Then we'll take you through a demonstration and create a beta testing campaign using the ReachOut Beta Center. So first of all, ReachOut is a European coordination and support action, and our goal is to help European projects run beta testing campaigns. So the underlying objective behind ReachOut is to create value for research projects. So indeed, when research projects deliver their results, it's not just about giving the code to the users. There's many more attributes, which are here, which create value for project results. So, so once a project has produced a beta version, the beta testing is a powerful way to get feedback about the project version. Why beta testing? So beta testing has a lot of benefits. So here are some that we like to point out. First of all, beta testing helps delivering the software to potential users. So because you have users with whom you are delivering the software to, you have to make some efforts. So this will help you deliver the software. Also, beta testing will provide you feedback, and you can use this feedback to increase the quality of the product. Beta testing enforces other necessary product attributes. So for example, here we list a few: packaging, tutorials, etc. And these product attributes which you will enforce during the beta testing process will increase the project value. And finally, getting in touch with beta testers can provide you with ideas for future exploitation of the project results. So in summary, if the project is ready to launch a beta testing campaign, then it means it's ready to bring some value to the market and develop its ecosystem. So in ReachOut, we have developed a whole methodology, which you can find on the ReachOut website. I'll point out to you later on during the demonstration. And also, together with this methodology, we've developed a number of tools and templates which are ready to use in order to launch and run a successful beta testing campaign. So we'll take you through those tools in a demonstration in a minute. So quick overview. So the tools include a homepage for campaign managers. It also includes a page which allows you to create a beta testing campaign and generate the associated feedback questionnaire. We're providing you with what we call the monitoring dashboard, which we'll focus on a little bit more in this webinar. And so this dashboard helps you follow the progress and implementation of your campaign. So there's a whole timeline about the campaign, and typically a campaign lasts between 5 to 8 months. So the ReachOut project team is here to help you. So this, I have to emphasize this, and I will repeat it several times during this webinar. So we're a team of people and we're here to help you run and set up your campaign so that it's successful. So don't hesitate to contact us. We can provide you with webinars, with demonstrations, presentations, and throughout the course of the campaign, we can also help you fine-tune and design a better campaign. So the first step is to register as a campaign manager on the platform, and then you're ready to go. So here, I've opened the ReachOut project website. So the first thing we want to do, assume I'm a campaign manager, so I am myself ReachOut, and I want to promote the ReachOut project results, so this beta center platform to everybody, and run a campaign about ReachOut itself. So the first thing I will need to do is to register as a campaign manager. So if I have to register, I just give my my details here. I'll just use an email address, a temporary email address here for this purpose. I'm based in France. I give my username here and a password, and I have read the informed consent form, right? Let me find something that I can read here, and then I just click register. So when I register, it tells me that I've received an email with a process so that I can finalize my registration. So I will just go here and remember the email I've just put in, and I'll check the inbox. In my inbox, I have an activation link to validate my account. So I just click on that link, and this will finalize the registration. So now I can log in with the login name I gave in the form before and my password, and I will be on my Campaign Manager project page. So we've tried to make the platform as easy as possible. So the first thing you need to do is to create what we call a project. So for a given project, for example, ReachOut, but it could be your own H2020 project. You may have several campaigns, so you have an umbrella under which you can put all the campaigns, which is the project itself. So here I have a project called ReachOut, and I create the project. So by creating the project, I need to give in a number of information. So typically the URL of the project website. I can also choose a logo, and I've got the logo here. I can give a description for the project. So when you give the description for the project, you have a short description and a longer description, showing what ReachOut is, and then I save the project. So when I've done this, I have here the project, which is newly created. We've provided you with a little Twitter button, which allows you to tweet about your project being on ReachOut. So you can click on this, and we've provided you with a sample text, which you can customize if you want to tweet about your project being on ReachOut. And now the next thing to do is to actually create your campaign. So here I will create a campaign called testing the ReachOut platform, because this is what it's all about. So here I can give the campaign a start and end date. So let's just say it starts today and it ends in 6 months or so. I can give an estimated duration. So how long would the beta tester need to be able to test the platform? So let's just say 20 minutes. What are the campaign's objectives? So here, the goal of this campaign, for example, is to test the platform. So it's important to give the campaign objectives for the beta testers. The next section is to provide some requirements for your campaign. Typically, if your project requires some specific software or some specific cloud accounts or some specific installations on your machine or operating system, this is where you would put it. The next one is to provide a detailed, comprehensive testing scenario and instructions. So it's very important to realize that you cannot just say, hey, just test my software. People wouldn't know what to do. So you have to guide them. In order to guide the beta testers, you have to give them a testing scenario, which has to be as detailed as possible. So this would also contain external documentations if you have any. It could also contain the URL where they can download the software or access the software. So it's very important to fine-tune this scenario. So the best way would also be that you have your colleagues do a test run of this campaign, test the scenario, make sure that it's clear, easy, and doable. And last but important point is to provide incentives for your campaign. So the ReachOut project itself can help pushing forward the beta testers and putting their names on the ReachOut website. And so we're working on the label. We also have possibilities to work with you as a project to define what the best incentives would be. So it could be goodies if you have any for your projects, or the simple recognition of the beta tester is already a good point. So here I'm just going to put some, there's no special incentive for this one. And then you save the campaign. So when you save the campaign, it will take you back to the campaign page as a campaign manager. So here it says your campaign has been created. You can, like you did for the project, you can modify it by pressing the edit campaign button in your case. And also what we've done behind the scene is we've generated a questionnaire, which we'll look at it in a minute. And at the moment, it says here the campaign's not active. It's currently not published, so you will have to do this. So you have a summary of what we'll just input here, the objectives, the requirements, the scenario, and the incentives. There's again the warning that the campaign is not published until you activate it, so you're using this button. You can also, like you did for the project, edit it if you want to. So part of this webinar is to focus on a piece of the methodology and tools that ReachOut provides, which is the campaign dashboard. So let's have a look at this campaign dashboard. So what's the campaign dashboard really? So the campaign dashboard is some kind of campaign management graphical interface, and it provides 24 checkpoints, which will help you monitor the progress of your beta testing campaign. So it works as a self-evaluation tool. There's nothing automated here. And the results can be used in a visual synthesis. So here on my dashboard, everything's at 0 because I haven't done anything yet. And so you can also use it for reporting process internally to show your project partners where you are in this campaign. You can also use it externally for the funding authority to tell them that you've launched a campaign and how far you are. And it also helps us, the ReachOut project team, to monitor the progress of your campaigns. And we can also arrange sessions to take you through the dashboard and the different elements. So the dashboard contains the 24 checkpoints in 3 categories. One about management. So these checkpoints do cover strategic decisions which have to be taken at the project level upon defining the campaign. The middle one is about the preparation. So these are the tactical actions and decisions in the preparation of the campaign. They're sort of back office tasks. And the third column is about execution. So these checkpoints have to be considered once the campaign has been pushed live, and they relate to how the results are coming in and how we report the results. So this is the dashboard. So let's just go through the exercise of editing this dashboard. So now I'm going to take you briefly through each of the points. So for each point, we've put an explanation. Is the goal clearly elicited? So typically, do you know what you're going to test? Is it part of the software? Is it functional or not functional? Do you know whether you want to check deployability or integration? Or so what's the purpose of actually your test? So here in our case for ReachOut, we know what we're testing. Is the scope clearly described and documented? So basically, the software, the software that you're going to test, is it documented what people are going to test? Is there a hello world scenario? Maybe you don't want to test the whole software because your project will go on and you will do other campaign. But in any case, you have to clearly describe and document what you want to test. So partner information. So here, typically what we recommend is that when you launch a beta testing campaign, all your partners in your project should, first of all, understand the concept of what it is, agree that the campaign is a dissemination action that's useful for the project, so the partners are aware of it. Another important point in terms of preparation is that we need to have someone whom we call the beta campaign or the beta testing campaign manager, the campaign manager in short, who's appointed. So this person is the one who's in charge of the campaign. So typically it needs to have some technical background, but also be able to do some dissemination. So at the point where you start the campaign manager may or not have been hired, but you need to do it to run the beta testing campaign. So typically the campaign manager is identified normally because at least the person has registered as a campaign manager on the ReachOut website. The next one is whether there's a support contact point. So the support contact point will be the person in charge when the beta testers are doing the tests and they have questions. So it could be the campaign manager himself, it could be someone else. So you need to have somebody registered here. As I said earlier, with regard to, for example, the Hello World scenario, we recommend that you have internal beta testers who have been identified and they make sure that the instructions work before they publish it. So here we have some. And the next one is who are your beta testers? So you need to identify who the beta testers are, whether they're developers themselves, in the case you want to have some very technical feedback about your software, or whether they could be typically end users or business users. So it really depends on what you want to test, and you have to say on your campaign page who your targeted audience is. And finally, it's about the incentives. Have you defined the incentives? As I mentioned before, it's the reward which you give to beta testers. Remember, beta testers give some of their time, so it's important that you recognize this. So the next one is about, as I said, it's more about the campaign itself and the preparation of it. So have I defined my testing scenario? So in my case, I have. Is the beta version packaged and tested? So typically, the software that you want people to test should not just be a piece of code on a repository server. It should be easy to deploy. It should be, if it's an online service, it should be easy to use. And typically, IT professionals should be at ease when trying to use that software. Another element about packaging is data sets. So in some cases, you want people to play some data sets on your software. So you have to think about whether you want people to use a data set provided by the project, or whether you want people to be able to bring their own data set. So here I'm fine. Again, about the beta version download link, is it operational? Is it public and available? Did you test the network latency in case it's a big piece of software that has to be downloaded? The hello world, is it really in scope with the goal of the campaign? So make sure that what your campaign goal was is in line with this hello world scenario. In terms of documentation, so there is the beta testing scenario itself, but also you could have other documentation in your project. So it's important that if there is such documentation, users can go beyond the scenario and have a look at the documentation if they need some more information. Also, there's additional documentation such as the links to the support contact if they need to contact someone, additional documentation I just mentioned, and if, some privacy GDPR notice if you have any. Typically also you should explain what the collection feedback process is. So how you feedback how you collect the feedback from the beta testers and what you're going to do with it. The questionnaire, has the questionnaire been developed? So ReachOut itself, the platform, generates for you a generic questionnaire. So this questionnaire has to be customized in relation to the scope and the objectives of your campaign. So we'll go through it in a minute. So at the moment here, I haven't customized it at all, so I will leave it to 0. And we'll remind you here again that the questionnaire must be activated. Are the fine prints ready? Typically, any informed consent or GDPR notice, ReachOut provides their own. We also provide in the tools section some advice about this, so you should really consider this seriously. And the last one is about the communication package. If you need to reach out to your beta testers, we provide you with a number of templates here. So if I go to the tools and templates, we provide you with a number of templates here, including the communication package, which gives you templates for announcing to whoever you want to reach, the fact that your campaign's been launched. Also, if you want to create your own web page, we give you a template here, and different types of emails and communication elements which you could use to reach out to your beta testers. So communication package is good for me. And the next one, which is about during the execution. So here I will probably be at 0 because I haven't done any of those actions yet. So have I completed the campaign page? Yes. Is it live? Well, no, I haven't published it yet. Have I done some campaign promotion actions? So typically what we recommend is you do at least 2 campaign promotion actions to reach out to your potential beta testers. So I haven't done anything there. Have I recruited 10 beta testers? So we think that from the experience or from the literature, we found that after 10 beta testers, you could reach a pattern of feedback. And so we recommend also that you leverage the project ecosystem, the partners, the advisory board, whoever follows you on your social network, some other students from participating universities. So here I haven't recruited anybody. The next step relates to whether 10 questionnaires have been returned. So again, as I said, after 10 questionnaires, you can hope to find some kind of pattern in the feedback. Remember that not all the beta testers will return feedback questionnaires, so you'll find in the communication package some email templates where you can actually reach out again to your beta testers who've registered so that they don't forget or they can come back to you just to remind them. So here I haven't done anything on that one. And once you have the results, we have elements about whether you've analyzed the results of the campaign, shared them with your partners, and discussed technical feedback and exploitation opportunities using this. Finally, you can have the external reporting. So you can also announce the results of the campaign to the reviewers. Also, there's the ReachOut team who can help you, can provide you suggestion for the improvement of this campaign process. So we can help you here. And last but not least, the rewards. So don't forget, if you promise rewards, you have to put them in place. So don't forget about that. So I'm going to save this dashboard. And once I save the dashboard, I will have a dashboard where I'm fairly green on the management side. I'm fairly good on the preparation side, except the questionnaire, which we'll now go to in a minute. And of course, I haven't done any execution yet, so there's nothing to show here. It's all 0%. So let's go back to the campaign itself now. So remember, we have a campaign page. The campaign is not published now. And the next step we want to do is to actually customize and activate the associated questionnaire. So if you click on that link, it takes you to the Lime Survey platform where you have to log in. So I will use my my login and password, which I provided earlier on. And I'm taken to this page, which shows me the pre-generated questionnaire that ReachOut has provided to you with a list of questions here. Quite useful is the structure. So you can see that this questionnaire has a number of questions and sections, and you can actually customize them. So this is what we're going to do now. If you go to the main page of this questionnaire, you can preview what the survey looks like today. So this is what the survey looks like today. So you're in preview mode. There's a quick introduction. So this is what the beta testers would see. And if you click next, you will see the different questions. So we'll just go through the steps. So in Lime Survey, you just click on the question here, and you can edit the question. So here, did you manage to install, set up the software? So we could say, did you manage to register in the ReachOut platform? So that could be a question. Also, you've got the choice for each question, whether it's mandatory or not mandatory. So here, let's just make this one mandatory, for example. So save and close. So now I can preview this question, which looks different. Did you manage to register? And it's got a red star, which is mandatory. So that's an example. So the second one, how do you rate the installation setup? So we could also try to summarize this one. How would you rate the ReachOut registration process, for example? So that could be a possible rewording. And also for this question here, I preview the question, it tells me a number of possibilities. So very difficult, somewhat difficult, average, somehow easy, very easy. So this can also be customized for if I want to. So it's in the help. So if I do help here, it's got 1, 2, 3, 5 because I've chosen the 5-point choice for this. But I could customize the text. So here I could say neither difficult nor easy. For example, that would be a possibility. Another possibility, if you want to add a question to your group, so about the user experience, you can add one here. So you have to give it a unique code. And here you have to provide an example question. So, so the questions could be, did you manage to register your project in ReachOut, for example? So typically, this could be interesting if you have specific points where you want to have feedback from your users. So Lime Survey gives you different types of possible answers. So here I have, for example, single choice question or multiple choice question. So let's choose multiple choice, for example. This is a good one. So yes, no, maybe. So I can choose that one. And do I have other or not as an option? So let's just try this. And so if I save this one, I will now have a question here. However, I need to add what the sub-questions are. So typical sub-questions would be, so that's the provided answer, yes, no. So let's just say save and close. And if I preview this question, I now have, did you manage to register your project? Yes, no, I kept other, so I have other. So that's just an example on how to add a question. So once you're done, you can also reorder the questions, you can change them, etc., etc. You go back to the main page for this questionnaire, and once you think you're finished, what you do is you activate the survey. So activating the survey, so you must be pretty sure that your campaign is now ready, because otherwise, if you activate the survey and the survey is active and beta testers start filling in the questionnaire, it's too late to add new questions. So you can no longer add or delete questions or sub questions or change their code. You could probably change the wording and typos. That's something you can do, but you cannot add any more questions. So let's just say I'm quite happy about it. So I save and activate the survey. So now my survey is active. So if I go here, I can see that the survey is active because I now have a stop the survey button. And if I go back to the ReachOut page here and I reload that page, I'm here on my campaign page. I now see that there is no warning or no disclaimer that the campaign is not active. I also have a little Twitter button about this campaign. Remember, I had one about the project. Now I have one about the campaign. It reminds me of the start and end dates and all the information that I've put in. I can still go to the questionnaire if I need to modify it, but now the campaign is live. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out from this platform, and I'm going to play the role of the beta tester themselves to see what it looks like from the side of the beta tester. So let's just log out here, and I'll log out from Lime Survey as well. And I should be fine. So now, if I play the role, I'm not logged in. If I play the role of the beta tester itself, so what I can do is I can check out the existing campaign. So I can see one which, so that's the current one, which I've just done, which ends on the 25th of July. And it tells me all about the campaign. So let's say I'm a beta tester and I'm interested. So I just input my email address here because I'm interested in participating in the program, in the reward program. And what I'm interested in now, I've read all the instructions. I know what to do. I've played with the software, so I can fill in the feedback questionnaire. And this is the feedback questionnaire that the beta tester will see. So it reminds me about what it is. And there's a link back to the campaign if I need to. And then I can start filling in the answer. So remember the first question I made compulsory. So did I manage to register? Yes. It was very easy. So typically what a beta tester would fill in So fill in the questions. Good. Did I manage to register? Yes, so that's a new question that I provided. Any feedback on the dashboard? The next one is the user ID. Here you can again provide your email address for the incentive program if you want to. Some questions about the user interface, whether the performance is okay, whether the software is stable, whether it's easy to be tested. And here I've submitted my my reply. So now, if I log in again as the campaign manager, I'll be able to see what the campaign manager sees as the results of the questionnaires which have already been given by beta testers. So I just log in here. I go to my home page, and my home page shows me my campaign here. And if I go to the Lime survey again, I will be able to see not only the settings here of the survey, but I will also be able to view the response and statistics. So here I know that I have some statistics about the response here. So I have one, which is the one that the beta testers just given. I can display the responses. So here is just one big table which I can export also if I want to. I can view some statistics. So at the moment, I do not have. So let's go to the simple mode. I do not have much answer, so I just have one. But typically, this is where you would be able to follow the statistics of what the beta testers have been able to give you as a feedback. As a campaign manager, you will receive email with. I have received 3 emails. So the first one is here the fact that I've registered myself as the campaign manager, and the other one, for each response, I will get an email telling me that some beta testers has responded to the campaign. So the platform informs the campaign manager for each response submission to the survey, for each feedback, which is quite interesting. So that's about it for the ReachOut webinars. So we will run further webinars. So there's another one planned on the 25th of March, where we will give you some insight about tips to maximize the feedbacks from beta testers. And we're planning an additional 6 webinars this year as well. So each time we will run you through the generic demonstration, and we will focus on one of the items that I would like to highlight. So thank you very much for your attention, and that's it for today.